In a reality TV show, to satisfy fans' wishes, the organizers came up with a show to check guests' bags. A female celebrity with the name Green Tea pulled out a photo signed by a famous celebrity from her wallet. She smiled shyly. Han personally signed the autograph for me. I just glanced at it and coldly said, "This signature is completely fake. Did you buy it on Shopee?" Her face immediately changed color. Her eyes seemed to sparkle with fire. "Miss Gent, Chow Ji what?" Right after that, the host suddenly took my wallet, opened it in front of the camera, and said in surprise, "Oh my God, this is an intimate photo of Zhao Daik Han and Chow Jia Di." I looked towards Green Tea. Do I get jealous? Are you worthy? The online community exploded. I am Chow Jia Di, an unknown actress in the entertainment industry. If it weren't for this show's sudden lack of guests, I would probably still be eating instant noodles in my small apartment, instead of sitting here as the background for today's female lead, Chu Mai, Kentucky. The show was going smoothly when the MC decided to please the fans, randomly drawing a request from them. Unexpectedly, he immediately won the challenge of checking guests' bags live on air. I secretly sweated for the director. If you bring up something that shouldn't appear, the whole crew will immediately lose their color. Chu Mai Kai smiled meaningfully and tilted her head to look at me. "Chow Jia Di, are you sure there's nothing illegal in your pocket?" Her tone was as if she was sure I had something shady inside of me. Chu Mai Kai is a hot actress recently co-starring with an ancient male god who is about to explode. Her reputation has skyrocketed. One time I accidentally wore the same type of jacket as her. Yet I've been pinned until now, as if I'm trying to cheat on purpose. I raised my eyebrows and smiled faintly. "Do you have banned goods?" Chu Mai Kai stroked her hair, covering the microphone on her collar, whispering close to my ear, "A B-list star like you should get out of this world." I took a look at her. What a beautiful dream. Meanwhile, the live stream room exploded with comments. "Kai Kai is extremely beautiful, the goddess of my heart." Whoa, who is Chow Jia Di? Is he popular? Why is that attitude so strange? Don't make my Kai Kai uncomfortable. Somewhere there are comments. Why do I find the strangest person my Kai? The assistant quickly brought over Chu Mai Kai's branded handbag. She smiled sweetly. Her tone was soft. "It's a bit messy. Please forgive me." MC took it, placed it on the small round table, and began to open each item with Chu Mai Kai's consent. Branded sunglasses, expensive headphones, high-end cosmetics, wallet, everything is perfect. Nothing suspicious. MC glanced at her, smiled and asked, "Can you open your wallet?" Chu Mai Kai smiled and nodded, responding gently, seemingly looking forward to what was to come. The wallet opened. The host was stunned, looked intently into the wallet, and then turned to Chu Mai Kai. "This is a signed photo of Zhao Daik Han, and it's also Tu Sai." I raised my eyebrows. Everyone knows Zhao Daik Han, who has maintained the top position for 3 consecutive years, has never signed Tu Sai for anyone. Even a normal autograph photo of him is extremely rare. Yet Chu Mai Kai has a painting by Zhao Daik Han. Truly shocking news. Livestream comments exploded immediately. Tu Sai's signature, signed by Mr. Zhao himself. Oh my God. Mr. Zhao's regular signature is already hard to come by. Now it's Tu Sai too. Mom, I'm only alive now. The newly revealed signed photo created an earthquake. The number of livestream viewers skyrocketed because Zhao Han's fans flocked in to get excited. Chu Mai Kai blushed. "Yes, Mr. Han personally gave it to me." I glanced at it. The pen strokes lacked strength. The lines were not neat. The fake signature looks pathetic. Transaction: Han never signed such a scribble. "This signature is 100% fake. Did you buy it on Shopee?" She was angry and glared at me. "Nonsense. What, Chow Ji? Are you jealous?" I kindly reminded her, but Chu Mai Kai didn't bother. Netizens looking forward to the drama are laughing happily. I just came here to see what the fake signature of the top saver looks like. Now all the internet is selling fake signatures. Who knows how real and fake they are? Her fans were like a tsunami, flooding the chat room, cursing me. "Chow Ji, are you trying to find a sense of existence? Relying on scandals to stay afloat?" Laughing, "Who do you think you are to dare to doubt Kai Kai? Are you really going through all the tricks to steal things? Your time is up. Just quit SBUS now. Is there even a little bit of trust between people gone? I can recognize Zhao Daik Han's signature immediately because he is my brother." Seeing the tense situation, the host quickly moved on to the next topic. This issue may have to wait for Zhao Daohan to personally confirm. Everyone, please look forward to it. Next, let's take a look at Chao Jiadi's bag. Chu Mai Kai glared at me. Her eyes seemed to want to devour me on the spot. As soon as she saw the assistant handing my bag to the MC, she interrupted and sarcastically said, "This bag looks so simple. Did you buy it at the market?" Today I'm wearing a pure white crossbody bag, a limited edition for VIPs of a famous foreign brand. There are only 5 of them, so ordinary VIP customers may not be able to buy them. Can't blame Chu Mai Kai, because she basically had no chance to come into contact with this thing. I just replied blandly, "It's very expensive." Chu Mai Kai clearly looked disdainful, thinking I was gossiping. I didn't have many things in my bag, so I quickly searched through them. The host smiled, opened my wallet, and let me take a look. As soon as I opened my wallet, he suddenly stopped, was stunned for 2 seconds, then quickly closed the wallet. After that, he looked at me in surprise. This episode Zhao Daikhan did not participate in the program, but traces of him were everywhere. This sentence made both Chu Mai Kai and netizens stunned. Only I, an insider, know the real reason. Seeing that I did not deny it, the host immediately turned his wallet towards the camera and exclaimed in surprise, "Zhao Daikhan and Chao Jia D took intimate photos." Everyone was stunned, me too. That photo is just me and Zhao Daikhan getting close to each other to take a photo together. Why is it an intimate photo? MC, can you please stop exaggerating and distorting the truth like that? No way. Chu Mai Kai suddenly shouted and immediately grabbed my wallet. I look at her. "Make me jealous, are you worthy?" She stared at the photo with wide eyes, her stiff expression suddenly relaxing. "This photo is a composite. I didn't expect you to be so fascinated by Zhao Daikhan that you would do this." I'm speechless. It's not worth doing that. It's just a photo taken together. My family has a lot of them. Why do I need to combine them? The host saw the tense situation and coughed lightly twice. You keep a neutral attitude. Let's let Zhao Daikhan confirm this issue. Let him be the photo judge next week. Chu Mai Kai snorted coldly, threw her wallet back at me, secretly turned her back to the camera, and moved her lips. You just wait. I calmly put my wallet away, not bothering to look at her again. The program ended in confusion. Before leaving, Chu Mai Kai also deliberately bumped my shoulder. She quipped, "I didn't expect you to fantasize about Mr. Han to this extent. It's disgusting." I responded, "Thanks to you for spreading the infection, bad luck." That night, as if Chu Mai Kai's fans had already discussed it, they all went to my Weibo to curse. "Chao Jia D, you are a stalker, ugly and cruel, bullying my Kai Kai. You are not even an animal. Chao Ji, D green tea are unmatched. You sluts, go away." Right when I was being heavily criticized by netizens, Zhao Daikhan suddenly posted a photo judge status line, declaring that 2 was fake, but the photo was real. Social networks exploded immediately. The names of the 3 of us occupied the top 3 hot lists. What is the relationship between Tang Tang and Chao Jia D? Promoted trading in Han, Zhou Mai Kai, Chao Jia D. Tang. I looked at the number of followers on Weibo increasing rapidly, admiring that in this era traffic is still king. Suddenly I have a bunch of new fans. On the other side of the phone, Han laughed and teased, "Just use me more. You will discover many other benefits." I replied calmly, "Not playing it, sis. That's enough. I still have to go back and inherit the family business." Initially, my father intended to let Han take over the group, but he developed so well in the entertainment industry that he immediately refused. So the responsibility of inheriting the family estate fell on my shoulders. The Korean transactional tone is rarely serious. "It's okay if you don't need to inherit. I'll take care of you." I smiled happily. Still the brother who loves you the most. The script this time is by director Truong. Have you seen it? I plan to invest. Han Trading immediately guessed my thoughts. I think the topic is good. The story is well adapted. If filmed, it will definitely explode. I joined the show partly because I liked it, partly to prepare for taking over the corporation later. Investing in movies is risky, but the profits are also extremely attractive. My father definitely gave me a sum of money and told me to practice investing on my own first. He smiled lightly. "Just do it, I support you." The next morning, I immediately went to director Truong's studio. As soon as I arrived, I suddenly saw Chu Mai Kai and her manager also present. A man was standing in front of the room's door, explaining to them, "Director Truong is busy right now and really doesn't have time. Please wait patiently. When the director is finished, he will definitely notify you." Chu came to audition. Chu Mai-kai's manager deliberately pushed a red envelope into his hand, but was flatly refused. Chu Mai-kai stared at the closed door, seemingly extremely dissatisfied. When her manager gave up, they both turned around and discovered me. Chu Mai-kai was stunned for a moment, then gritted her teeth and walked towards me. "Chao Jia-di, even though you are Han's girlfriend now, in just a few days, he will get bored of you. In the end, he will love me, become my man. What are you better than me? Mr. Han is really blind to pay attention to a moss shrimp like you." The anger in her eyes seemed to burn and burn me. I wiggle my fingers. "He won't like you. I'm not sure about other things, but I understand the Korean guy's girlfriend's taste very well. He likes gentle, petite girls, not the seductive and sharp type like Chu Mai Kentucky." Hearing me say that, she got even angrier. "Chao Jia-di, do you still want to compete with me for the female lead role in Director Truong's movie? Do you know how much you weigh? Who gave you the courage to come here to audition?" I calmly replied, "Luong Tin is fine." "Huh." She smiled coldly and pointed at the man standing in front of the door. "Who do you think you are? Do you believe that if you step forward, the director's assistant will immediately call security to kick you out?" I looked at that man and then turned to Chu Mai Kentucky. "Let me try then." She snorted contemptuously. "At that time, I will film the scene of how miserably you were kicked out so that Mr. Han can clearly see what a stupid mistake he made." I walked straight to the door of Director Truong's office and said to that man, "I'm Chao Jia-di." He immediately turned around and knocked on the door. "Director Truong, has Miss Chao Jia-di arrived yet?" Just 2 seconds later, the door opened. The person who opened the door was famous Director Truong Tri. He smiled. "Hello, Miss Zhao. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Please come in." "Yes, Director Truong." I replied politely before entering, and deliberately turned my head and smiled smugly at Chu Mai Kentucky. She glared, wide as a bronze bell. After Chao Jia-di finished discussing with Director Truong, he personally saw me out the door. He said, "The producer was supposed to be present today, but unfortunately his family was busy. At the official audition, he will definitely attend." I smiled. "It's okay. Let me know when the audition date is finalized." On the day of the public audition, when I arrived, the lobby was packed with people. Many famous stars were also present waiting to audition, including hot actors, famous idols, and a few people like me, unknown, mediocre stars. This film by Director Truong is a work of the gangster genre, full of enthusiasm, with a number of awards over the years and reputation and influence in the industry. Director Truong is enough to attract countless stars competing for auditions. Furthermore, the script is also written by the original author himself. This film will almost certainly become a blockbuster. Everyone understands that. My appearance immediately caught the attention of many people. "Hey, isn't this the girl rumored to be with top celebrity Chao Jia-di?" "That's right. Why did she come here?" "Maybe she's trying to gain fame. She's famous, so she came here to gain some foothold." "Is she really Han's girlfriend?" "No way. Han has never admitted it." Everyone looked at me with skeptical eyes. Han Trading did not speak up about our relationship. He just wanted to raise the temperature of discussion. "I don't care. Just let him have his way." Near the audition area, Chu Mai-kai also quickly recognized me. She sneered. "You were so enthusiastic the other day, but then the director kicked you out, right? You're really shameless." This sentence by Chu Mai-kai clearly intended to sway public opinion. Sure enough, the people around began to gossip. Has Chao Jia-di been chased away by the director? Is she planning to sell her body to get the role? How can someone like her stick to Korean deals? Looking at her face, she seems pure. Who would have thought she would be such a flirt? I'm speechless. These people don't know how to think for themselves. At this time, a staff member walked out of the audition room. He looked at the list in his hand and called out, "Miss Chu Mai-kai, please come in for an audition." Chu Mai-kai glared at me and raised her chin confidently. The heroine is mine. She walked into the audition room, and the door immediately closed. I deliberately waited in place. About 2 minutes later, I pushed the door open and walked in. The commotion behind exploded. I calmly closed the door. Inside, Director Truong and some people were observing Chu Mai-kai's performance. My appearance made her stop immediately. Her face darkened. Chao Jia Du. Before I could finish my sentence, Director Chuang stood up to greet me and introduced everyone in the room one by one. He pointed to the empty chair next to him. Sit here. This is Ms. Chu Mai Kai, the female lead of the movie, of the famous Kim Tuok Trang in the past. Chu Mai Kai was stunned and shouted, Director Chuang, why is she sitting here? It seems that Director Chuang was busy preparing for a new movie, so he was completely unaware of the conflict between me and Chu Mai Kentucky. He asked in surprise, do you two know each other? Miss Chow is the investor of this movie. Chu Mai Kai looked at me stunned, unable to believe it. I sat down and leisurely opened my mouth. Chu Mai Kai, please continue your performance. Her facial expression right now is truly unique. Chu Mai Kai performed an audition segment for the female lead role. Her acting is average, not bad, but not excellent either. Director Chuang decided to keep her and wait to see the other contestants before considering. I lowered my head to look at the list of next auditions. The corner of my eye still caught Chu Mai Kai's vicious look. She really doesn't know anything at all. Take a sip of water. She's arrogant and makes things difficult for me, and her life is in danger. Would you consider giving it a try? I've been somewhat impressed with this actress so far. She only takes bright, cute roles, never stepping out of her comfort zone. Director Chuang turned over the script, nodded, and suggested, it's worth a try. The actress was both disappointed and suddenly given the opportunity. Her eyes lit up with hope. Immediately, she rehearsed a scene of Bok Noyet Kwong. Unexpectedly, the effect was beyond expectations. Director Chuang decided on the spot, this role belongs to you. Are you interested in signing the contract? The actress happily nodded, endlessly grateful. Being part of Director Chuang's film crew, even if it's just a cameo role, is enough to attract attention. Director Chuang turned to compliment me. Miss Chow, your eye for people is very sharp, not bad at all. Chu Mai Kai snorted coldly. Who knows if the blind cat has fried fish or not? Director Chuang coughed lightly twice, signaling her to be quiet. At this point, she unwillingly bowed her head and continued reading the script. I humbly said, she was already suitable for this role, the director praised it so much. Actually, I was a bit surprised. At that time, I simply followed my intuition, but unexpectedly, I chose the right person. After that, it was as if my eyes were opened and I saw an actor speak. You look very righteous. How about auditioning for the role of a villain leader? I turned to a veteran actor. You're so funny. Consider playing this cold assassin. I looked at an actress with a strong demeanor. You're so domineering. Try playing the weak female supporting role in the script. There will definitely be an interesting contrasting effect. Everyone took turns trying to act, and they all matched the characters in the script extremely well. After a few hours, most of the supporting roles were chosen. Director Chuang was very satisfied with today's results and happily applauded. Miss Chow, I will definitely invite you to be the personality director for the next movie. Only the two most important roles remain, the male lead and the female lead. Director Chuang couldn't help but scratch his head and lament. Actually, I have a candidate in mind, but it's too difficult to invite. The screenwriter heard that and immediately guessed it. I know who you're talking about. It's a Korean transaction, right? He deliberately glanced at me and then whispered something in the director's ear. Director Chuang was stunned and surprised. Are you my girlfriend? Miss Chow, help me invite him to play the male lead. Believe me, with him, this movie will definitely explode. Director Chuang and Chu Mai Kai suddenly spoke up. Their tone seemed worried, but their eyes were full of provocation. Mr. Han has never publicly acknowledged him. Don't make it difficult for Ms. Chow to remember. If it's not true, wouldn't she lose face? Director Chuang and the screenwriter looked at each other. The atmosphere suddenly became awkward. I took out my phone and called Transaction Han. Please accept the male lead role in Director Chuang's movie. The entire audition room suddenly fell silent. Everyone immediately perked up their ears to listen, especially Chu Mai Kentucky. She even sneakily pushed forward to get a closer look. Korean transactions do not require thinking. Respond immediately. Okay, I'll ask the manager to reschedule. Director Chuang and the screenwriter were almost so shocked that they collapsed on the spot. Chu Mai Kai stood as stunned as a statue. The others gasped, both shocked and excited, chatting among themselves. It turns out it's true. Chao Jia Di is actually Zhao Han's girlfriend. I was speechless. My mind was filled with black lines. So that means when I call you, they automatically ignore it? Director Truong kept muttering that today was a good day. Finally, I had to speak up and explain. You guys misunderstood. Han Transaction is my brother. We are siblings. Unexpectedly, they showed a "we understand" look, full of meaning. No, what do they understand? Chu Mai Kai walked to the table and smiled brightly at Director Truong. Director Truong, if Mr. Han plays the male lead, then let me play the female lead. Once we get together, the film's temperature will definitely skyrocket. Director Truong seemed hesitant, seemingly wavering before her suggestion. I remembered Chu Mai Kai's previous audition and honestly commented, "You're not suitable for this role." Chu Mai Kai was mad. "Chao Jia Di, it's not your turn to speak here." At that moment, a man entered the room. Chu Mai Kai was the first to discover it and quickly ran over, her voice full of flattery. "Mr. Tong, you're here." Other artists also quickly stood up to greet the man known as Mr. Tong. The screenwriter leaned closer. "This is Tong Kwong, the producer of this movie." He supported Chu Mai Kai, wanting to help her become the female lead. I nodded in understanding immediately. Tong Kwong kept Chu Mai Kai so that the other actors could leave first. After everyone dispersed, Chu Mai Kai immediately took Tong Kwong's arm with a coddled tone. "Mr. Tong, you promised, the female lead is mine." Tong Kwong patted his chest and assured, "Of course, this role was originally mine. Let's see who dares to take it." Director Truong and the screenwriter seemed to want to say something, but held it back, their faces looking quite uncomfortable. Chu Mai Kai looked at me. Her eyes suddenly turned red, her tone of self-pity. "But there are people who don't want me to play the female lead and even deliberately bully me." Tong Kwong followed her gaze and immediately looked towards me. He frowned and asked, "Director yet? This is the investor you're looking for, just a famous brat. What the hell does she know? Are you kidding me?" "Capital." I shrugged indifferently. "Anyway, it's still full of good scripts. There's no need to bear the heat here. I have money to invest in any movie, but I can't." "Haha, ridiculous." Tong Kwong didn't know when he walked out, snorting coldly and contemptuously. "How much money can a small star like you invest?" Director Truong next to him quietly raised 4 fingers. Tong Kwong smirked. "For million hectares, such a small amount." Director Truong shook his head. 40 million hectares. It's just change." Director Truong shook his head again. Tong Kwong stiffened. His eyes gradually changed. He asked tremblingly, "4 for billion?" Director Truong nodded silently. Tong Kwong took a deep breath and put his hands on his chest as if in shock. He did not dare to believe it, repeatedly confirmed it with Director Truong, and each time received a certain answer. At this moment, Chu Mai Kai came out from inside. As soon as she saw Han's transaction, her face immediately brightened and her voice remained coy. "Mr. Han, did you come to see me? I'm so happy." I squinted at her, truly admiring the thickness of her facial skin. Transaction Han didn't even glance at her, just turned to me and smirked. "My brother, please support me. Well, let me take you to a film crew that doesn't have trash." "Wait." Director Truong quickly stopped, politely inviting the two of us back to the audition room. After that, he went out and argued loudly with Tong Kwong. Director Truong shouted angrily, "If you persist any longer, no one will take it away from us." Meanwhile, Tong Kwong, Han Trader pulled me to sit down to play the game. A moment later, Director Truong returned, dragging Tong Kwong with him. Tong Kwong coughed a few times. It seemed awkward, but neither Han nor I bothered to pay attention to him. Miss Chow, I was a bit hot just now, don't take it personally with me," he explained awkwardly. "I'm also very attracted to Chumai, Kentucky." I waved my hand. "A gentleman completes others. I don't want to stand in the way of your future. After all, she is the female lead." Tong Kwong immediately denied. "I guarantee you right here, Chu Mai Kai absolutely cannot be the female lead of this movie. You can rest assured." The door was suddenly pushed open by Chu Mai, Kentucky. She rushed straight to Tong Kwong, her voice full of anger. "Mr. Tong, what are you talking about? You promised me that the female lead position belongs to me." Tong Kwong frowned clearly in disgust and moved aside. "Miss Chu, I'm sorry. I have to inform you that your shoulder is full. Please leave here." Chu Mai Kai was unwilling and shouted, "Mr. Tong." Tong Kwong quickly ran out the door, turned around, and shouted into the hallway. "Guard, where's the guard?" Take this crazy person out now. You bastard. Tong Kwong. Chu Mai Kai was so angry that she kicked the table, knocking everything on it. In the end, she was dragged out in a pitiful manner, still screaming. Chow Jia-di, you bitch. The Korean trader's hand that was playing the game paused. I quickly grabbed his hand, with a reassuring smile. He glanced at me, his lips slightly raised, then continued playing the game. I just finished filming a commercial in the studio. I'm confirming the schedule with my assistant, and I'm done with everything. I still have to take advantage of the time to study business management. Suddenly, people entered the room one after another. I raised my eyes and looked up. It was indeed a narrow lane. It's Chu Mai Kai again. Since being kicked out of the film crew, she has been quiet for a while. I didn't expect to meet each other here today. Chu Mai Kai conveniently threw a glass of water at the assistant, then strode towards me. She held her head high, her expression filled with pride. Chow Jia-di, do you think you've won? I also want to see what she's up to this time. Chu Mai Kai smiled coldly. You stole my Han and ruined my chance as a female lead. What a shameless, thick-faced person. I sighed. Compared to you, I'm still far behind. She raised her chin, full of provocation. Stop talking nonsense. Now kneel down and apologize to me. I can still spare you a life. Otherwise, I guarantee you will die without knowing how you died. I just want to answer one question. The wind was blowing from afar. Just as the two of us were struggling, suddenly a voice interrupted us. Isn't this the lady of the G family? Hearing that, Chu Mai Kai turned around, his face full of doubt. Do you know her? The man didn't pay any attention to her and quickly walked in front of me. He smiled friendly. Miss G, we met at the last auction. At that time, you were with Chairman Zhao. I was standing behind you too. Do you remember? I tried to recall my memories, but there was no impression. Chu Mai Kai frowned, pulled his hand back, her voice full of annoyance. Dad, don't talk to this slut. She's just a lowlife. Pop. The man swung his hand and slapped her straight in the face. Chu Mai Kai immediately stiffened and looked surprised. He glared and shouted loudly. Shut up now. Apologize to Miss GD. What's wrong with you? Chu Mai Kai was completely confused, her mouth open, looking at him in surprise. Dad scolds me because of an outsider? For what? Everyone defends her. Who the hell is she? Pop. Another slap landed on the man, angry at every word. Shut up now. Do you want to anger the G family so I can go bankrupt? At this point, I remembered that he was the business owner who tried to cooperate with my father last time, but was rejected. Perhaps Chu Mai Kai did not know that her family was trying to cling to the G family. Yet she teased me time and time again. Chu Mai Kai hugged her red face, tears falling one after another. She looked at her father but did not dare to refute a word. Therefore, her eyes were filled with hatred, focused on me. I faced that indignant look and calmly left. Less than 2 days later, on the day of officially signing the contract with the actor, director Truong called me. Heavy voice. Miss Chow, half of the actors have decided not to come and sign the contract. I closed the management book in my hand. The reason was clear. No, Director Truong was silent for a moment, then slowly spoke. It's because of Chu Mai Kentucky. According to Director Truong, Chu Mai Kai contacted the actors, promising to pay them double their salary to attract them to her side. The movie was originally supposed to start filming on schedule, but now it has to be postponed. Even Korean traders have to stay at home and play games because of scheduling conflicts. In the entertainment world, what is never lacking is new actors. So Director Truong and I decided to find actors from Tan Binh Rig. I was busy with work and didn't have time to deal with Chu Mai Kentucky. She started to play tricks again. A group of fake opinion leaders began to frantically defame me online. Chow Jia-di is actually a hot girl on the internet, relying on rich people to climb up. High school classmates accused Chow Jia-di of bullying her friends, forcing people to commit suicide. Chow Jia-di used to take nude photos to seduce married men. A series of dirty rumors sprouted like mushrooms after the rain. The assistant was so angry that his face turned red. What nonsense are these people talking about? Netizens are the same. Whenever something happens, they rush in without thinking. I still calmly looked at the actor documents that Director Truong had just sent. This is so normal. The online war of words lasted for many days, its scope increasingly expanding. Finally, even fans of Korean trading joined the battle. Stay away from my brother, Chow Jia-di, don't cling anymore. Initially, Mr. Han had an invitation to act in a movie, but because he joined this film crew, he is now unemployed. Where is the justice? It's too troublesome. Please let my brother get away from her. It was only when Han posted a status on Weibo that his fans immediately fell silent. Just say it once. Chao Ji, my biological sister. He also included a photo of the two of us taken together when we were children. The direction of public opinion changed in the blink of an eye. Wow. It turns out she's not a sister-in-law but a younger sister. A biological sibling, right? Look how pretty she was when she was little. So cute. Gold on the neck. It was so hard for him. He burst out laughing. This kid is interesting, but I'll be honest. Today I came here to support my protege Kai Kentucky. I've already invested in this project. You go find another place. I crossed my arms and shrugged. Based on what? Based on your age? Based on your business selling wreaths. His face immediately turned Sam. I'm Mr. Trung, doing business in City A. Is there any businessman here who doesn't know me? I only need to sneeze, and the whole City A will have to tolerate it. Who are you to dare talk to me like that? Chu Mai Kai followed immediately. That's right, if Director Truong doesn't agree today, don't expect to start filming tomorrow. A whole film crew and a murder, you should consider it yourself. Director Truong almost went crazy and quickly advised Kai Kai. After all, we work in the same industry, so why do we have to do such unsightly things? Chu Mai Kai looked at me contemptuously. It's easy, Chao Jia Di. You forced me to this point. Seeing the bodyguards behind me, now kneel down and apologize to me. I will forgive you. I almost burst out laughing. Does she think I'm scared? I signaled Director Truong to leave the room so I could handle them myself. As soon as Director Truong left, I no longer needed to pretend to be gentle. Faced with Chu Mai Kai's stubbornness, I sighed. At first I didn't intend to touch you, but you insisted on running into the gun, and I had no choice. Chu Mai Kai glared. What did you just say? I curled my lips and smiled coldly. I said you're stupid. Chu Mai Kai angrily rushed forward, raised her hand to slap me, but I was faster, blocked her hand, twisted it back, and pressed it hard on the table. Immediately after that, I pulled out the dagger from my pocket and stabbed it straight into the back of her hand. Bang! Chu Mai Kai's hand was pinned to the table. Ah! She screamed miserably. Her whole body trembled. She tried to struggle, but could not escape. Chu Mai Kai was originally a weak lady who had never suffered before. This shock was completely beyond her ability to bear. My unexpected action startled General Director True. By the time I was about to call the bodyguards to rush up, it was already too late. Because I was still holding the hilt of the knife tightly, the corner of my lips curled up slightly. I warned them, whoever dares to take a step forward, I will spin the knife around. Guess how many rounds Chu Mai Kai can endure? General Manager True retorted, his face pale. Fuck you. I've already looked down on you. I'm really cruel. I fully accept this compliment. Chu Mai Kai trembled and said, Chao Jia Di, I will definitely kill you. Tisk. I shook my head regretfully. Only your mouth is stiff. Blood from the back of her hand dripped onto the edge of the table, creating a blinding red streak. I glanced at General Director True, speaking slowly. True Chin Gang, General Director of SB Company. Father is True Kien Kwok, mother is Lai Tan. Your company started in the electronic components industry. Last year, you just took over the company, then signed a big contract. The profit from that contract is not small. True Chin Gang's face immediately darkened. He looked at me warily. How do you know this? I raised my eyebrows and smiled. Of course I know, because that contract was signed with Jiao T Group. I not only know the value of the contract, but also know the date your company must deliver the goods and the fine amount for violating the contract. His expression slowly turned to panic. What's wrong? Didn't she tell you? I'm from the Jiao family. What? The word Chin Gang seemed to wake up from a dream. He was so angry that blue veins appeared on his forehead. Without saying a word, he kicked Chu Mai Kai straight in the stomach. Do you want to kill me? This one. Chu Mai Kai was already in so much pain that he was about to faint, but now he was kicked a few more times, completely going crazy. She writhed on the floor and cursed loudly. You coward! You still want to be General Director True. You're a scoundrel. True Chin Gang couldn't help but add a few more kicks. Then he quickly turned to me and gave me a forced smile. Miss Chow, right? I'm really sorry. I'm blind enough to get involved in this. You're generous and forgiving. If you want to hit or scold, Feel free. I promised not to hit back or scold back. I lazily sat down on the chair and replied leisurely, I don't want to do it myself. He immediately understood, without saying a word. He slapped me in the face a few times, pop pop. His already attractive face now looks even more like a pig's head. I glanced at Chu Mai Kai. Tru Chin Gang immediately stopped, raised his hand, and exclaimed, Miss Chow, I will take this rubbish away immediately, to avoid causing you an inconvenience. I guarantee that I will handle her properly. Immediately after that, he waved his hand. 2 bodyguards stepped forward, forcefully pulled the knife out of Chu Mai Kai's hand, and carefully placed it back on the table. Then they rudely dragged her away. Director Truong was standing outside the door, his face heavy. I watched him raise his hand to make the okay sign with a slight smile. Seeing that I was okay, he breathed a sigh of relief. The next day, all the film crew members were present and held the opening ceremony together. Each person received a red envelope, hoping the filming went smoothly and smoothly. That night, I chose a high-class club, invited the entire film crew to eat and drink, and go to the pavilion. The atmosphere in the banquet hall was filled with excitement. Everyone raised their glasses to congratulate. Director Truong turned red from drinking too much, shook his head, and exclaimed, I didn't expect that Chu Mai Kai would jump into the lake and commit suicide. Even more unexpected, Ms. Chow turned out to be the eldest lady of the Zhao family. Truly a top mark of her profession. Zhao Daikhan and Lai teased Director Truong. Director, do you regret it? You should have let Jia D invest a few more billions. Director Truong snorted and pushed him aside. Then he turned to me and asked, Chu Chow, do you have a boyfriend? Chu, please introduce one. I poured a full glass of wine for him. Just focus on drinking. Accidentally met the eyes of the Korean family. A strange emotion flashed in his eyes, then quickly disappeared. At this time, a sister in the film crew pulled me to another table. This table is full of young actors of the same age. She took out a deck of truth or dare cards and said excitedly, Come on, come on, come on. Let's play something exciting. Each person draws a card. Don't avoid the question or dare. You must answer truthfully or do as requested. Oh, that sounds interesting. When it was my turn to draw cards, I prayed in my heart not to draw anything too weird. Flipping the cards over, I was stunned. The sister next to me reminded, It's your turn. I pursed my lips, not really knowing how to answer. She curiously grabbed the card from my hand and read it out loud. Who do you want the first night for? I 3 dots. As for the story, before I could react, Mr. Han grabbed my collar and dragged me out of the hall. He pulled me straight to the parking lot, pushed me into the nanny's car, and closed the door. Because I was pulled too hard, I lost my balance and jumped into his lap. Just as he was about to open his mouth to curse, he saw him raise his phone and was on a video call with his father. Treo Han held my collar tightly, smiled widely, and said, Look, your precious daughter is still intact, don't worry. With this stubbornness, even if you get cursed on the internet, you won't be able to cry. I glared at him and sat up straight. Dad, I'm fine, don't worry. My father looked closely at me through the screen and nodded with satisfaction. Good, but you're thinner now. Have you been working too hard lately? Eat more. Transaction Han asked. What kind of brother are you doing? Do you want to let your sister starve to death? Treo Han couldn't help but whine. Dad, am I the one who was picked up? Why do I feel like my status in the family is lower than this brat? That's right, I'm not the biological child of the Zhao family. Dad told me that he found me on the side of the road on New Year's Eve, when I was still a newborn baby. Initially, my father wanted to put me in an orphanage, but Han insisted. In the end, I was kept in the house of Han's biological mother, the Chow family. He named me Chow Jiadi. Outside, people say that I have my mother's last name. In fact, letting me take over the Zhao family's business always made me feel inappropriate. Anyway, it is most reasonable to trade Han's inheritance. But Dad said, even if we are not related by blood, you are still my daughter. Trading Han has no interest in this. You are the most suitable person to inherit. Dad told me to pay attention to my health, then hung up. I turned to look at Han. You still smell of alcohol. Are you drunk? He conveniently threw the phone aside and pulled out the card from my hand. Under the dim light in the car, he stared at the card, slowly reading each word. Who do you want the first night for? I looked at him bewildered. Suddenly, Mr. Han bent down and approached me, completely trapping me between the chair and his picture. I panicked and wanted to push him away, but found I couldn't. The first time I saw his eyes, deep and domineering, like a giant net covering me. The distance between us became closer and closer, to the point where I could clearly see every hair on his face. Hot breath blew on my cheek. I stammered, "Brother, brother." Transaction Han pressed his forehead against my forehead. His voice was hoarse and slowly said, "The first night is better for you than for someone else." I dream, baby. This is the end of the story. Thank you for following. Don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to hear more good stories.